Okay, let's finish things up by constructing a presentation sheet. And luckily, we're already well along on that. So I'm going to go to the actual presentation sheet that we have. And you'll notice we already have our model kind of updated. And all we need to do is really kind of correct some views. So I want to put a section view in, and I also want to do a full model view. So one of the things I'm going to do right away is I'm going to leave the model view, and I'm going to just right click on this, and I'm going to make a duplicate view of it. And I'm going to duplicate it, and I'm going to rename it. And I'll call this section view, section model. And so we have two views. And let's go ahead and, we'll drag them onto the sheet. And so here we have the model view. And let me double click into it. Actually, that's the section model. It looks like it's highlighted. No, it's the model view it's highlighting. It's got the little blue dot. Let's do a couple of things with it. Let's kind of bring it back in a way that's more descriptive. I'm going to pull it all the way up here so we can see how it cuts through that way. See a little section of the building. That all looks pretty good to me. The only other thing I would like to do is probably change the scale of it. It looks a little bit large. It's 1/8 to a foot. So let's try 1 foot. I don't know, what is that? 1 inch is 10 feet. And we'll see how that, oops, didn't mean to move an element. I got a warning coming up here. Let me actually move that warning sheet over to the other one and cancel out of that. And I'll deactivate this view. Try to. Wrong screen, sorry. Deactivate view. I'm going to go ahead and delete that and drag that back on the screen again. And it's taking up a lot. Oops, that's actually the older one. I was working on the model view. Hold on a minute. I've got them confused. Drag the model view back on again. And it's still large, so let's actually just adjust the scale one more level. We've still got to have some room to get a narrative on, so I'm going to change that one more down. And we'll look at placing that maybe over there. Let me go ahead and grab the narrative. I'm going to place that somewhere in here, I think. I'll make that a longer paragraph. All right, so that's getting a little closer to what I want. And we need that, except that that's the model view. So actually what we need to do is, I'm going to rename this one. Excuse me, this is my screw up. Hopefully you won't do the same thing. Section model view. And then we'll just call this one model view. I'll call it full. And I'll drag that one onto sheet 2, or I'll try to. And what we're going to do for that one is double click into it and get rid of the section box. So now it's a full model view. And we're going to change its scale to the same. And it looks like we're pretty close for submittal. So let me go ahead and deactivate that view. We're going to delete that one. We're going to delete this one. I'm going to pull these back on again. We don't really have a lot of room here. What I could do is maybe place this one over here. And let's go into it and hide the section box. Hide in view by element. Let's hide the grid lines by category. Let's deactivate the view again and delete it if we can, and drag it back on again. I'm going to just make an adjustment to this title bar, and let's put our narrative over here. You can place it anywhere that your layout could actually vary from this. I'm just giving you some suggestion here. Let me just try to get this position. All right, so that kind of gets all of our information onto the sheet without having to go back and correct or change the scale of these over here at the same time. There's one thing I noticed that I would like to correct. That back wall is going up as high as the top of the brick columns. It looks a little bit disturbing in this view. It looks like there's another material here. So let's go ahead and fix that. We're going to just make that, I'm going to just double click in any view here that gets me to that back wall. And remember, the parapet walls that are the lower ones, we just offset a -1 foot. So I'm going to do the same thing with that. I'm going to make it -1 foot and hit apply. And you'll notice how in the front south elevation now that automatically disappears. So go ahead and deactivate that view. And I'll do zoom E to get this all onto the visualization of the sheet. And let's go ahead then and export this as a PDF for submittal. So I'm going to go to File. I'm going to go to Export, PDF. We're just going to run through this again. You should already know how to do this pretty well. We're going to use a selected sheet. We're going to use that sheet that's already selected. That's good. We can call it, I'm going to call this Final, the file name. And I'm going to make sure I put it somewhere where I can find it easy. So give me a second to navigate to my internal drive and where I have these files saved. And we're ready to save it there. We're going to use the existing sheet size that we just selected, and we want to zoom 100%. We want it to fit in a 1-to-1 correspondence. And I think we're all set here. So we can go ahead and click Export. And this will take a few seconds, I guess, to do that. It gives that warning about the raster processing of the image, which is fine. And I'm going to open that file up and then try to locate it. I think it may be sitting not there. So let me try and find this. Excuse me just a second. There we go. And I'll try to fit it to screen. And there we go. So that's a good looking submittal for this project. Remember to take some time to write a good narrative. I love to read them. They help you connect what you're drawing to language, which is just important when it comes time to making presentations about your projects in the future. So it's a really good exercise to do.